And we're live.
Yay.
Hey,
Hi, Nicole.
hey, Heather. Hi, internet friends.
Hi, Fran. Thanks for joining us. How are you, Nicole?
I'm great. How are you? It has been a minute, Heather. What's new?
It's been 6 months. I checked how long it's been since we
Oh man.
6 months. And your channel's grown a bit since then.
It
Congratulations.
yeah, a little bit. Thank you so much.
Like
Yours
double.
too.
Not really, a little
Well,
bit, a tiny bit.
no, but like the growth, like that's the thing. It's on an upward trajectory. That's all we can
Thank
ask for
you, for
from the
sure.
algorithm gods, It's pretty random otherwise. I see we've got some fun folks in the chat. Mr. Ranger Lab is here.
Oh, I,
Gary.
hi, Gary. I don't even see that we have like people watching. I see the comments,
Marie.
but I don't see the.
Yeah,
So I was like, do we have friends here? I don't know.
we do.
Yay.
Katrina Ann is hoping that we do not agree with the scammers. I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm guessing that we're not going to. Just a
I've
little.
listened to it.
Okay,
It's a good one.
little foreshadowing here. Jolene on time for once. Oh, it doesn't. You can show up whenever. That's the beauty of a live stream.
For sure. So I can talk a little bit about our video.
Yes, please do. That'd be
So
awesome.
Nicole found this. It is John Melton with Bob Heilig, two very famous MLM coaches, talking about the secret to turning social media connections and engagement to leads. But then leads does not always mean a new customer or a new distributor, but they like to say, oh, I have all these leads, so that means people are going to join. And we know that's not the case.
I know. And in the marketing industry, we have a specific, I guess, definition for a lead, which is somebody
Okay.
who is opted into and has an actual interest in your product. So for example, like let's say that I had a farm and I was selling shares for my CSA coming up this spring, and I had put out an ad with a form that said, "Hey, sign up before April 1st and get a discount on your CSA. Give us your name, email, and cell phone number, and we'll get in touch." When someone fills out that form, that's a lead. That's someone who's expressed interest in what I have to offer.
Mm,
So they use the term lead a lot differently than I do.
for sure.
Nice. And Demi is here and only slightly late because a distracted playing PSO2. Hey, you can also listen to this while you're doing other things. Like do what you got to do.
For
I
sure.
often like Heather, I listen to when I'm doing dishes or I'm doing laundry or I'm walking the dog. I mean, to consume all the video content I want to, I have to
Oh, for
sometimes do
sure.
other things. And we are not going to shame anyone for doing that. So yeah, like Heather and I had talked about Bob Heilig, I guess, like a while ago, and then I was like, "Oh, I vaguely remember this person," and so I thought this video seemed fun because it's a little bit about marketing, which I like to
Mhm.
talk about, and
Yeah.
I know that you like to talk about all things scammy. So,
Yes,
um,
I'm excited. This is a good one.
all
We're gonna.
right, so oh, and by the way, we called this part one because both Heather and I turn into pumpkins at a certain point in live streams. So we're going to get through as much of this as we can, but we have a feeling it's going to be a two-parter. So
Yep.
part two to be determined, but we're going to see if we can at least get through half of it. That's the
Yes,
goal.
that's the goal for sure. I think
All
we're
right.
ready.
All right, let's do it. All right. So this is, oh my God. that still screen is amazing. But before we start, I just want to point out that every time I see this setup of wait, what's the guy's name? John. Wait, hold.
The one they're
Yeah, the
both.
one. Yeah. Okay, it's
The one in the
who's
black is Bob, and the
yes,
one
but
in the pinkish is John.
John. Okay, so John's setup cracks me up every freaking time because he looks like he's inside a geodesic dome. I picture like that he's in some weird corner of at Disney World, the big Epcot Center dome. I picture he's in there, and I know he's not. But every time I see that background, it just cracks me up. And
Uh,
I've never seen anything by Bob Heilig before. Have you experienced this guy yet?
yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so
Oh,
I'm in for a little treaty treat then. Okay,
oh, and
let's.
how do you want me to tell you I want to talk? Should I just wave at you or say pause?
Yeah, yeah, or just yeah. Say pause or yeah. Do,
Okay, sounds good.
I'll get to keep an eye on you, and it might take me a second because it's in another screen, and I Why are you doing
You want to
this?
build something that's going to build long-term residual income, something sustainable, something that you feel is worth the time and effort that you're going to put into your brand, to these connections, to social media. Like if you're going to put time into something, don't you want it to be worth it? Well, Bob's going to talk about today. I'm very excited about this conversation, how to really turn likes or followers or comments into leads. Because I think a lot of us, we struggle with social media. We struggle with the algorithm, the content we need to create. And Bob is one of the best, not just because he's done it, right? He's actually built very successful network marketing businesses, and then he retired and became a coach, but he's a very good teacher.
I'm just pausing this to say I think it's interesting that he retired.
Why did he retire if he was so successful? And why do they never tell us what companies they were with? They never tell us.
They never tell us. And despite running a multi-7-figure business or whatever, however these people spin it, they always somehow retire and decide to coach other people.
I wonder why.
I think it's out of the goodness of their hearts, Heather.
They just want to help people. And someone said this a long time. I don't remember who it was, but it was not my original thought, that you just have a bigger potential pool of prospects when you're not tied to one company, right? Because you can scam people in tens or a dozen separate MLM companies, and you're not just tied to Modere, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah. And also, I guess if you start working with someone and they have MLMs, you could continue working with them as their coach. Yep. If you're not tied to a particular one. We have some speculation in the comments section that John was Max Headroom in an earlier life.
Before.
And I will say, yeah, totally. And I will say that, I don't know, something about John's lighting is kind of interesting. I can't tell if it's that he's lit interestingly or if he's wearing more makeup than Bob, or I don't know. There's just some interesting things going on with the display there, but. Right.
And John was saying we can build a sustainable kind of long-term business if we learn how to turn our likes into prospects, but it's not sustainable. It's never sustainable. And he knows that. He knows.
Right. Yeah.
It's so deceiving when he knows that for people underneath him, for him to make his money in Modere, people underneath him need to suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. We had a lot to do for 41 seconds.
Well, we have lots of thoughts, you and I, Heather, and I appreciate that about our relationship.
Okay.
Most people that we work with in our business, when they get somebody that comments on a post that's specifically about what they do, that feels like a pretty easy path to a conversation, right? And somebody's asking about your products, it's not that hard to sell to them. But when we look at social interaction as a whole on a macro level, most people, the majority of the interaction they get, it's usually on the content that's not related to their business. And I know that for most people in our profession, this is where it gets really frustrating, right? Because we spend, we finally get the courage to put ourselves out there in a post or a video, and we share this really well thought out, vulnerable message, sharing all of our deepest fears and how we've grown. And we post it and it gets like 2 likes, right? Like your mom likes it and that one person in your downline.
How do you find that as an actual professional in this space, that certain kinds of posts you create for clients or for your own company will be really, really successful and others won't? And do you kind of wonder why that happens?
I mean, I think that's normal, but I will say at the same time, if I know of somebody who's in one of these companies and they post a lot of stuff and then they post something that's not that, I want to encourage it. So I tend to like the non-related stuff because I kind of want to encourage them to say, like, you can share other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some things will just randomly, do better. I could post the same thing like a few weeks later and it would do great versus like the initial time. I mean, the algorithm giveth and the algorithm taketh away, that's kind of how it works, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But I do when my friends in MLMs will post about their MLM stuff, I just try not to engage with it. Yeah. And then when they post anything else, I'm just like, yay. I don't know. Do you do that too in your life?
Because I can ask you, do you find that when you do that to be nice, are they messaging you or do they know you're against it?
No. They, I think with this channel, I think they've sort of figured it out, and also saying no. it's usually the same people, right? And they might change an MLM every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
After they pitched me like 2 of them and I've said no, they've kind of given up on me, I think. So, but it's still occasionally someone like slightly random on LinkedIn who I have a couple connections in common with will slide into my DMs and ask me how I like my business, which is always a weird question.
One more thing. So you said something very interesting, how you don't always know why certain posts aren't going to land. And you could post the exact same thing a week later and it'll get great engagement. But they always say they have the secret. They have the one solution. So I bet you Bob is going to sell that he can help you figure out why your posts aren't landing and help you fix it. But sometimes you just have bad luck. Sometimes the algorithm doesn't like your post.
Yeah, or like something else is happening that day. I don't know if there was one thing that Ray Higdon was talking in one of his things, and he was so mad because he was live streaming, and then January 6th happened when, the Capitol of the United States got stormed, and he got mad because his live stream views started tanking or whatever. The thing, like, he couldn't believe people stopped watching his live stream to kind of see if their, government was being overthrown, but yeah, so yeah, follow
the news.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean is there's so many factors you can't control with social media. And then, so I'll have people come to my workshop sometimes and they'll be like, well, I follow this person and they say to post every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. and that's the best time. And I'm like, if there was one thing that worked, like we would all be doing it. But the reality is there just isn't.
Exactly.
Just want to greet a couple people in chat. Naomi from Switzerland chiming in. Hey, Lisa, nice to see you again. And then Marie asked, do you actually like your real business as opposed to being a contracted employee of an MLM? I mean, there are moments where if someone walked through the door and gave me $1 and said, I will take all of this from you, that I would grab that $1 and I'd walk out. Every business owner, though, honest, has those moments where you're just like, I'm done with this crap. But yeah, it is better than, I feel like I have much less control if I would join an MLM. I don't have any control over the products. I don't have any control over the quality of those products, the pricing of those products, often how I can promote those products. Like you just have so little control. I have no control whether like the person down the street is also going to sign up to sell the same products as me. Like you just have so little control. Even running a business, I have relatively little control, but I have more control than that. I control my products. I control my pricing. I can decide what markets I want to be in. Like I have a lot of, I guess I have a lot of leverage that way, and
there's also the pride in having something that's your own, even if it sucks, because you made it and you are maintaining it and you're like providing the services that you think are important. And in an MLM, you don't get to do that because nothing is actually your own.
Yeah. And that's got to be really like tough. And then you're just told like, okay, at conference or whatever, hey, you're going to have to sell these new products. And regardless, whether you like them or not, whether you understand them or not, whether they're priced well or not, whether there's something the market wants or not, like, it's really tough. If you're going to sell things, you might as well work for a company, get paid for sales training and get paid a really good commission.
Yeah. Just be a salesperson.
Just be a salesperson. You're going to make so much more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Cece Suarez, when she was doing like sales for like a Medi Spa, I think.
Yeah.
Like she made way more money doing that, I'm sure, than most of these MLM folks do.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. I'm ready.
Right. Let's see what Bob has to say.
Outline in your upline likes it. And then the next day you post a picture of your cat and it gets like 100 likes and 20 comments, right? And like this is the thing that plagues all of us. And so most people, that does not mean anything to their business. So we find ourselves when we look at the landscape of social media today, engagement rates have plummeted over the last 3 years, especially on the two primary platforms, Facebook and Instagram. It is so much harder today to get attention and to get engagement. It's not impossible. It doesn't mean it's still not an important part of the business. But most people in our profession, they're just not people are not coming to them. They're not liking, they're not commenting, they're not messaging anymore. And so what I see is that the average person in this profession finds themselves in this really difficult place where the last 2 to 3 years, it's all been inbound selling, right? People are coming to you, asking you about your products. Customers are asking you about
easy money.
easy,
money.
right? It doesn't take a lot of sales skills if somebody's asking you.
As soon as he said easy money, I was like, Heather's going to want me to pause this.
Yes, Naomi, this is an MLM. They're two MLM coaches, and they coach people who are in the industry. So although John's in Modere still, but they don't just make their money from their downlines in their company. They coach people in multiple MLMs. I had a question I wanted to ask you. Why do you think engagement is down, according to Bob? In MLMs, no one wants to join an MLM. Everyone knows how crappy they are.
Yeah, like that's, exactly. It's like Maurice saying, it's like, yeah, people are just really understanding what these companies mean. But so I think there's a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't know if you've noticed in your feed how many ads you see, in particular on Instagram versus organic content.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Meta is they want to make the most amount of money possible, right? And they make a majority of their money off ads. So I think what they're trying to do is fill your feed with enough ads, as much ads as they can so they make money, but not so much that you stop using the platform.
Mm.
So I think a lot of what you're seeing is, sponsored content or some other paid version of that. I think the other reason is that Instagram has been trying to compete with TikTok in particular. And so they've been really pushing Reels, which is those short videos. They're in a separate tab. And I know that when we post Reels for our clients, they're more likely to be seen by strangers than in-feed content is. But the reality is that most small businesses, you can't be making a video every day. Like it takes, even a short video, takes some work and some time to edit. You gotta, like I said, it's so it's not something people can do all the time. So people are still posting in feed hoping, to get somewhere, and they will get somewhere, but you're not seeing the levels of engagement that you used to, I think, because of those things. And then also you're competing with these other platforms now, so like I said, TikTok is on the up and up. We have other emerging platforms as well. So people are they're not spending all their time on Instagram. They're spending their time other places too. So I think it's a combination of those things. And I think Instagram is just really trying to figure out what it's doing. They launched this Threads thing about 6-ish months ago or so. That's like a separate platform to compete with Twitter. So when I go on Threads, I don't see the rest of my Instagram feed. So I'm splitting my Instagram time between regular Instagram and Instagram Threads. So there's, I think there's a few reasons for that. And I don't think, engagement's down, but I'm also not surprised that engagement's down for these particular kinds of businesses because people are just hip to it now.
Everyone knows about it now.
Yeah. Or at the very least, they know, even if they don't know a lot about it, they know to be suspicious of it.
For sure.
Because of like content like you create and other people like who are really producing a lot of great anti-MLM content. So I'm just checking the comments. Neil just got off a bike. It's okay. You can take whatever mode of transportation you want. And then when you're coach correct, you need to include all major platforms. And it means complying with their terms of service.
Yes,
yeah. I mean, and the thing is, a lot of these people are concentrating on Facebook and Instagram. They don't really talk about TikTok because they're technically not supposed to be using TikTok as multi-level marketing people. Like they're not supposed to be on that platform.
Yep, but they all are.
I'm sure, I'm sure privately they're telling people to like take your Instagram reels and upload them to TikTok and that kind of thing.
So
but and every time I see an MLM person on TikTok, I do report them, but I'm not really sure, if that gets anywhere. But yeah,
you got to report.
No. Are you on TikTok, Heather? No.
So,
but have you noticed your Instagram feed has a lot more ads than it used to?
I don't go on Instagram.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. I get it. I'm on there kind of sparingly. I do spend a lot of time on TikTok, but and what's funny is my boyfriend is on Instagram Reels a lot, and so I'll see a reel, and then 2 days later he'll send me or I'll see a TikTok, and then 2 days later he'll send me the Instagram reel, and then 2 days later I'll see it on Facebook. I see very similar content, very similar cat videos and things like that. But yeah, the internet likes cats. Of course, it's like you post your picture of your cat, people are going to engage with it. Yeah, people like it's the internet. Everyone loves cat content, you know?
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's part of it.
So I'll let it play for longer than like 1 minute.
No, it's totally fine. No, just flag it down. As soon as he said easy money, and by the way, like, I think what they're implying here is that during the pandemic, when people could not go to work or when people were laid off, that the popularity of MLMs started upticking. And now, so I think what he was saying was, it was kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. Like
I didn't catch that the first time. I just heard attraction marketing, but
yeah,
maybe it was easier to attract people because they were desperate and scared and out of work and hungry,
right,
and they needed to eat.
Right. And now, like, so I think what he's saying is it was easy and now it's feeling harder because people are getting hit to the MLM stuff. And also people are like, not as desperate anymore, which is great. Okay. Marie says her Instagram has been really bad with ads lately. Okay. That makes, yeah. And Lisa watches a lot of cat content. I appreciate that. Our algorithms are probably similar.
I'm ready.
Right.
But here's the big shift that we've seen in the profession over the last year is the shift has gone from inbound to outbound. And so when we look at engagement rates are down, meaning that there are less opportunities for us to start these obvious conversations. People are not coming to you the way that they were 2 to 3 years ago during COVID. And so people find themselves, they don't know how to, they don't have people to talk to about their business. And so what's happening is they're either resulting to like flat out cold prospecting, cold messaging strategies, and they're doing it in a very transactional way that completely turn people off, or they're doubling down on content, thinking, well, I just have to create more. I got to do more platforms. But the problem is this, is that content is still passive and relying on inbound. And so the argument that I'm going to make, is that the number one thing you need to do today is you need to be more proactive. You need to be more proactive in your selling strategy, which means.
Okay. I think I'm seeing, I did another video recently. It's recorded. It'll go online next week. But so in all these trainings, I'm trying to think of the other people who've done them. There's a few on my channel, but basically when they do these social media trainings, it ends up being like, I'm trying to think of this one woman. Oh, Tanya Liza. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So Tanya Liza in her little marketing in 2 hours a day. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, spending 2 hours a day on your marketing is a lot for most small businesses, but okay.
Yeah.
She says spend 30 minutes on social media posting. And she has this whole thing where you go on and you leave comments on different people's platforms and you warm up the algorithm, which I've never heard of in my entire life as a marketer. So you warm up the algorithm before you post your content so that it's like warmed up, ready to go for you, I guess. But anyway, I think that's a bunch of BS because I did try an experiment where I warmed up the algorithm for one of my clients before I posted their content for a month. And the other client, same sized audience, similar engagement. I did not warm up the algorithm and it didn't make any difference except it wasted a bunch of my time. But the other hour and a half of that 2 hours you're supposed to spend on marketing is basically sliding into people's DMs, directly messaging people. So I think that's what they're going to apply here is like, hey, like during the pandemic, you could make videos and then people would contact you. So it's inbound marketing when they contact you. Outbound, they're going to say like, oh, you should be like proactively messaging people and building relationships. I think that's what they're going to say.
But every message when connected to an MLM is automatically transactional. They always like to say, well, really ask them questions, care about them as a person. Well, it's not if it's genuine if we don't actually care about the person's well-being and we want to bring them into an unethical business structure. Because I'm going to make an assumption based off of you with your small business. You are pitching a service to someone who has you identified them as a prospect. They expressed interest in your service. And tell me if I'm incorrect. If you think that your company can't meet their needs or you're priced too high or something, you're probably going to tell them that. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So you're not going to push your services on someone, even if you think that they don't want your service. But in an MLM, you do. You're told to push it onto anybody.
Well, and to be honest with you, it's it's really interesting because I'm sure they're going to be like, okay, you should be messaging people and building the relationship. It takes a lot of energy to do that. So like I've been, honestly, things have been a little slow here, and it's because, it's a bit of the economy and it's a bit the time of year. Usually in March, people are about to pay their taxes and have some other reasons that they kind of pull back on marketing. So I think I met with 4 prospective clients last week. I'm going to meet with 4 more prospective clients so far this week. And like that, and just like meeting with them and then writing the proposals. I mean, that has been, I spent the whole day today writing proposals. So like, it takes a fair bit of time to do that. And I'm not talking to hundreds of people. Like I'm talking to like 10 or 20 people right now. And it's taking like, it's a part-time job. I can't, and then these people have to go through a certain amount of volume before they even have somebody who's interested.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
they're probably having 100 conversations. I cannot imagine how long that's taking for them. And at a certain point, you do run out of people. Like you're not going to, I mean, you run out of people.
Yeah, you do.
And I was like, if I like followed up, because I just pulled all my contacts into a CRM and I have like 1,500. And I was like, okay, like, so if I contacted, 5 of these people or so every day, I will have reached everyone by the end. I'm going to run out of people. And I've been building up this list for 16 years in business. So, and a couple of new people might come in, of course, but like, just the volume of numbers they expect normal people who have not been marketing a business for multiple years, who are starting from scratch, maybe who have never even used social media before. It's ridiculous. It's not setting them up for success at all.
Great point. And you have that list because you've been in business for however many years.
Yeah, 16 years. I've been doing this like since January 2008. Like I've been doing this a really long time. And it's taking me that long to build up those people. And like I said, I met with some prospective clients. I met with 4 last week. Again, 16 years in the business, putting my name and stuff out there for a really long time. And a lot of these people can't afford to wait that long to make money. They're already paying in for products and stuff. It's just really not fair.
I agree.
But Marie says, like cold messages are not something they've been doing since they started to use social media. Exactly. So that's what they're going to say outbound marketing is. But outbound marketing can be other things too, besides cold messaging. But that's the only tool they really have, right? They're not going to, they're not going to do content marketing. They're not going to do things that take time to work.
Agreed. I'm going to turn my camera off for like 1 minute.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. I'll restart. We can keep watching these guys. Sure. I love how John Melton looks like totally disinterested as the guy is talking.
I think John Melton is one of the more, I don't know him personally. I think he's one of the more like personable of the MLM coaches after Fraser, because I did a video on my channel with him and Ray Higdon. And mine was just so like he was an active listener. He seemed to actually care about what Ray was saying, and Ray was not paying any attention. But so usually I don't mind John usually.
Yeah.
So
I find him sleazy. He vaguely reminds me of my ex-husband. But also, which might be part of it. But also like I find him, I've seen other trainings. I find him a little slick. Both you and I kind of love Fraser. We're sort of endeared to Fraser Brooks. It would be really funny to do a bracket sometime where we like watch trainings with 2 people and decided who was more sleazy or more likable and just like face them off against each other.
That's a good idea. I'm down.
We'll see. Maybe we'll do that sometime. But I haven't decided who's more like, I don't know Bob that well yet. I haven't decided who's more likable in this stream yet, but.
Okay. I vote John. I'm ready.
All right. We'll see.
Means you need to learn how to start a conversation with someone that actually creates an opportunity for your business. And for like a guy like you and I, this feels almost funny to say, because I think one of the advantages that we had is we came up in this profession before social media existed.
Yeah.
So we weren't afforded the ability to be, let's be real, a little lazy at times and just rely on content. And that's not fair because look, if you are the 1% of people that still today is consistently building a business just off of content, I'm not diminishing the value or the hard work of that. But the truth of the matter is 99% of people in this profession today will never be that. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to model their business and what they do off of the 1% of the influencers that have the big followings, thinking that that's the formula for success. And it's actually not. It's a formula for failure. And so we had an advantage because we didn't have social media.
I'm sorry, I need to say something. So the same 1% of people that they're saying, well, all these people are just copying the 1%, hoping to replicate their success. Those 1% of people are the people selling the coaching programs. They're the people selling the methods.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And so I don't know, like, so it's funny while he was talking, the thing popped up that was like the Lifestyle Academy or whatever. It was like, join the Lifestyle Academy. I was like, it's so interesting. He's like, these people following the top 1% of creators, like, you know, and then like, it was like, join the Lifestyle Academy. I thought that was kind of like funny timing for that. But yeah, like and his whole like people who, you know, use social media are lazy. No, it's that we have different tools now. You still have to know how to use them.
And I think I don't know if he said they had an advantage. Did they have an advantage before social media or a disadvantage? What did he say? Do you remember?
I think he is saying that people now have it easier. So I think he's kind of implying that they grew and like in spite of not having social media. And the thing is, and I'm somebody who also came up, like I said, I started my business in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook was still kind of Wild West. I was on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. I think those were the social media accounts, but it wasn't, there wasn't really business pages sort of yet or it was around then that business pages were starting. And I just remember like you try to drive traffic to your blog, but you couldn't post the link just to social media. So we had all these crazy ways of getting traffic. We like had blog directories, we had blog rules. So like fellow bloggers, you would list other blogs that you liked in your sidebar. So other people go to their content. You would leave comments underneath other people's blog posts. We did these things called blog carnivals where like, it would almost be like if we all as YouTube people got together and be like, all right, we're all going to do a video about this topic. And then we're all going to link to each other's videos about the same topic. It was like that for blogging. So the thing is, there's always tools that you can use. And if anything, you actually have less competition. So I think it would have been easier to come up if there was less going on.
That's why I wanted to clarify because yes, before social media, you'd be limited to the sense that you can only recruit people that are nearby you, but you don't have thousands of other people in the same company doing the exact same posts as you on social media, competing for the very small group of potential prospects for your company. You have the ability to like reach people that other people can't reach. So I would say it's probably harder on social media because everyone's doing the exact same thing. So I think that's bullshit, Bob.
I agree. I know. And the idea, and I just always really dislike it when these people who are trying to sell programs or work with people imply that their audience is lazy, because it just really angers me because a lot of these people I know are working really hard, and they're working against a lot of things. And the thing is, like, if you look back to the time they're talking about, there was still email newsletters. There was still like Facebook and Twitter, even if there wasn't all the other social media. You weren't expected to make videos. Like there was still, you could still run ads. Like you still had a lot of tools in your tool belt to drive traffic to your website or to sell products. So yeah, I mean, it's not like they were doing this in like the 1970s or something and didn't have the internet at all. They just didn't have social media. And like you said, there's just so much content being produced now. It's really hard to stand out sometimes.
And Bob is saying we're getting lazy now because of social media, but what about people in your coaching program, your virtual upline, Bob, when they follow your rules for social media and they follow this leads program they're doing with John? Are you still going to call them lazy? Probably. You're going to say it's your fault because you don't have the right mindset. You didn't have the right vision, even though you followed everything I said perfectly. And sometimes the algorithm is just not going to pick up your post. I'm going to turn on my little ring light because it's getting quite dark in here.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Geez.
It's okay.
It's just a $5 ring light. It's not very good.
Hey,
I don't know if it improves anything.
That's hey, a light is a light. It's working. But yeah, it's yeah. So Tori just joined us. Thanks for coming on. And yeah, and they do, a lot of them do use these same posts. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I really had a bone to pick with like social media has made us lazy. Social media is another tool. And like if you were good at, maintaining a network before social media, like I always have been okay at it. Like social media it made it a little easier, but I still had to use it. I still have to,
Exactly.
Yeah. So you still have to use, just because a tool exists does not mean your life is easier. You still have to know how to use the tool and you still have to maintain the tool.
Yeah, exactly. It takes effort, it takes time to plan out your posts.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. I'm ready.
All right.
Right.
Like when I tell people some of the things that I used to have to do to find people to talk to, they look at me like I'm crazy, right? Like walking through the mall and randomly prospecting people, like just going up to random strangers that I don't even know because somebody had a suit on and having to start up a conversation and quickly try to, pique someone's interest. But here's what happened is we learned how to sell.
Yeah.
And we kept that skill.
You're doing that now, though. You're just not walking up to them in a mall.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing. It's just and there's probably an Amway, I bet.
Oh my God. But can you imagine, like, first of all, you're wearing a suit at the mall. And second of all, like, this guy walks up to you.
Hey, do you want to learn how to make money from home? If not,
hey, you're dressed pretty slick, my guy.
You have suits. Yeah,
I know, picturing some random dude I don't know walking up to me in a mall.
But they do the exact same
prospect me
online. They just do it online. They're like, they look at different ways to connect with people online. Like, oh, you have a dog, so cute. How old's your kid? Oh, where'd you go for your vacation? And it's the same thing, Bob.
When people ask about people's kids, I always think it's so creepy. Like, oh, your children are beautiful.
It's like, who are you?
Who are you, weirdo? Okay. I just had to pause at the idea of someone wearing a suit at a mall like in the 90s and Bob walking up to them.
Skill set with us. And then we entered into this age of marketing, which was the last like 5 to 7 years. And marketing is still important, but I'm telling you, we are going back into a season of selling. And so like the people that really know how to sell, how to start a conversation, how to ask the right questions, so let's go back to my example. You get a like on a picture of your cat. So you're standing on this island over here. Okay, somebody liked my cat picture. And you want to get to this island, which is, I would love to be able to use that as a reason to share my business or find out if they're interested. But I have no idea how I can bridge without just being a complete train wrecking the conversation, car salesman approach, like blowing them out of the water. And so they don't do it, right? And so I say there is a way to do that in a way that is authentic, that is organic. But in order to do that, you have to increase your sales conversation skills. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be teaching people ways to start and have conversations that can create opportunities for your business, because that's where it really is today.
Could you also talk about?
Sorry, my skin's dry, so I have on my hand because
you are fine.
So he says we want to be able to go from a cute picture of our cat and someone liking it to pitching them the opportunity, and we're going to do that through sales conversations. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You're trying to sell them an opportunity. Obviously, you need to have a sales conversation. It's different, though, because in a normal sales job, you are not trying to bring them into an unethical business structure where they will fail. You're trying to sell them a product, right? It's not inherently predatory. MLM is always inherently predatory. Always. So none of it's authentic, sir.
I also love how they're like, okay, you're going to join our training and we're going to show you how to go from this cat picture into the sales conversation. And what I don't understand is, okay, so we're going to buy this program and get some sales scripts, but like, this is how it would go, right? Nice cat picture, Heather. Oh, thanks.
Nicole.
Thanks so much, Nicole. Like, are you a fellow cat person? You know, and then like you go and then you start talking and you say, you know what? Like, it's so great. We have so much in common. Like, you know, do you ever go to any business networking things? I'd love to like learn, you know, I'd love to like keep in touch. Oh, you don't go to networking things for your business? Oh, it's funny because in my business, you know, we actually have a lot of these events. Like, see how another way I could do it. Hey, nice cat. Hey, thanks. You know, oh, it's so, you know, it's so great. You know, it's really hard when I travel, you know, I don't know, you know, I have to find someone to leave the cat with, and it's always difficult. Like, what do you do with your cat? Like, do you have somebody who comes and watches your cat? Oh, yeah. Well, that sounds like a really cool business, like that cat sitting service. Like, have you been doing that a long time? Because I find out they're a cat sitter. And then I say, oh, you know, but it sounds like you'd have to work really hard to make that money. You know, I have another opportunity that, see, I could write these scripts all day. And all you have to do is kind of think about it and think about the different, and they're going to make up these scenarios. And here's the thing. There is not one single conversation. They're going to make all these scenarios like they're going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it will never be like that. It's always these completely fake conversations. Like, you know, like, sure, that happened. Like, yeah. It's like,
I feel like Ray makes up stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, there's no way that happened in real life. Or they would also say, hey, cute cat, have you heard of Arbonne?
Yeah. Or you could post a picture. You could post like an in-message picture of your cat with your Arbonne products. Like,
yeah, with your fist
like
stick.
holding the R. Like my cat loves Arbonne. Has your cat ever heard of it? See, I could sell to people based on a cat picture all day. And they want you to probably buy a multi-$100 or $1,000 program where they're giving you these just completely fake conversations that are never going to go as expected.
What's this coaching lifestyle academy?
My lifestyle academy is the slash leads is their
my
website.
lifestyle academy, my life.
Yeah. So yeah, at least online you can block them. It's true. Good point. And then like, yeah, if a random dude walked up to me in a suit in a mall, I would assume they were in Amway. Yeah.
Right. Same. Okay, I'm not seeing it. Okay, whatever. I thought I could quickly find the price for us.
No, it's totally fine.
Obviously, so we don't need to wait.
Right. And maybe they're going to make you sit on a call before they tell you the price. That's what I find with a lot of these things now is they won't list the price. You have to like schedule a call and you're like, oh, gross. So yeah, you know, if you want to practice sales conversations, just practice having conversations with people and have the person you're practicing with be like, as, you know, and you can tell them what level of hostility that you want them to be, but you can practice with real people having conversations and just making yourself feel comfortable when you get unexpected input. You know, that's what's going to make you most comfortable doing sales calls.
Good advice.
Not any of these dudes programs.
Yep, good advice. Because you've actually had to do these and you've actually had to prepare for similar things.
Well, yeah, and sometimes someone will say something completely out of left field and you're just, you know, as you do it, you just kind of get used to like, okay, they might bring up something really random and you know, how would I deal with that? And you don't know until you're in that situation, but yeah. Oh my God. This pause screen is so John looks. Sorry, John.
About your philosophy on like the marketing piece as well, because I think a lot of us, and even, you know, me at one point, I was in that same boat where it's just like all about attraction marketing, right? And it was great, especially back in like the 2016, 17, 18, 19. But at some point, it's like, you got to talk about your products. But how do you do that if you don't want to be a salesperson? And I love what I saw you talk about recently in this regard. And I think it's so freaking important. Can you talk about that conversation about the marketing, attraction marketing, curiosity marketing, what that looks like?
when you look at where the profession was, they were so far to the left, meaning that it was, they were treating social media like it was just a cash register, and it was just a sales promotion. It was like, because remember, the advice used to be post 5 to 7 times a day. And there were people posting 5 to 7 times a day about their products and crushing it on social media. And when I think about when I first started selling courses and coaching, I could go to my Facebook profile and just put up an image of a training that I would I'm doing a workshop. I could just throw an image up of that workshop and I would make 50 sales off of that thing, right? And so we got a little bit greedy and we got a little lazy. And so what happened was more people started to do it. And then all of a sudden, society in general started being like, wait a minute, my inbox is getting spammed and there's more. So as a coaching contingency, we said, all right, you guys, you got to stop this. And so for us, we're like, just don't do it anymore, right? Never talk about your company, never talk about your products. It was like, this big secret. I could remember.
I did a video. Oh, Marie left you a comment.
Yes. Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love. Yeah. So Debbie said, John's so expressive with his. It's true. I appreciate his expressive faces because I also can't hide anything.
Same.
And Marie wants me to make some parody MLM scripts. I can totally do that sometime. I will. I still have to do my funnel training, my fake funnel training.
Oh yeah. Would you want to
do it as? I don't know. I would have to produce enough content for that to be worthwhile, but I wanted to do a fake sales training as Nikki O. O stands for optimize. And I want to do a whole funnel training as my over the top persona. The problem is I don't have more than 5 minutes to talk about sales funnels. I literally can't think more than 5 minutes to say about them. So I have to think of how I'm going to pad that out to make it a nice long presentation. But
that's funny. All I was going to say is they don't want you to talk about your company or your product anymore because they want to control the information. They want to control the narrative, right? Because if you say, hey, I'm with Arbonne, then someone can just go and find Arbonne online and they'll see the shitty reviews. Mm-hmm. They'll say, oh, I could get the same product from Arbonne, but just off Amazon and it's a lot cheaper. I'll just go to Amazon. I don't even need to go through this person. Or they'll find Hannah Alonso doing her Arbonne videos with tens of thousands of views on it, right? And so you have to hide the name of your product. You have to call it something else. Like in Beachbody, my mom crack for their pre-workout, right? And you cover the label so people get curious about what the mom crack is, and then you reach out and you just hide it. Hide the name of your company. But
do they call it mom crack? Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
A friend of the channel.
That's awful.
I said before, if your MLM is so amazing, why are you hiding the name of it? Do you ever hide the name of your company?
No,
of course not.
Go look at whatever you want. I have nothing to hide. I'm sure I've said things I like that I wish I would have said differently or something, but I've never been ridiculous. But yeah, no, God, these people. I know. So at first they were like, social media is like a cash register, and now they're saying, but now it's hard. So is it hard or is it hard right now or is it easy right now? Because kind of toward the beginning of this video, they were like, oh yeah, social media, people just post stuff and they expect things to happen. And then they were like, oh yeah, social media was a cash register up until 2019. But before that, they were saying it was easy during the pandemic. So it sounds like they've had a 10-year period of ease. So how is he going to train you to be a great social media marketer if he's just had 10 years of ease?
And you already kind of answered this, but if he was so successful in his MLM and MLMs, plural, and made so much money, why are you leaving? Why would you leave? But I'm thinking also maybe there's other reasons, right? Like work-life balance. Maybe you weren't passionate about the mission of the company anymore. But really, if you're in an MLM, you know that people below you are failing. If you're at the top, and if you're making millions of dollars, you know how you did it. You did it by recruiting people. So do you really care about the mission of the company? Probably not. I don't know.
Well, and if a lot of these people, they make their day in the life videos and it's I only work an hour or 2 hours a day. So okay, if you're making, 10 grand or more a month and you're working for 2 hours a day, why not just like let it keep going?
Oh, Mr. Major Lab, they can't say social media is so easy because then why would you need their coaching? Exactly. Brilliant point.
But like, I'm just basically saying they went against what they said, like at the 2-minute mark, at the 8-minute mark, because they were like, okay, well now it's like, everyone's gotten lazy because of social media. And they're saying, yeah, it's not as engaging, but they were like, oh yeah, but it was like back in 2019.
Yeah.
It was so easy. Back during the pandemic, it was easy. Okay, so when was it hard exactly? It sounds like now it's hard, but it's hard now because, like I said, all these platforms are trying to make the most amount of money possible by showing a lot of ads. And like, we all know that's where these platforms start, is they start with very little to no ads. They build up a user base and then they try to monetize the audience. That's just like, that's what all tech companies end up doing, So if something's free, you're the product. That's what we say in tech. So
if something's free, you're the product.
Yeah. So if something is free, you're the product. So basically it's free for us to use Facebook, but our data is being sold to companies who are taking out ads to us.
Okay.
So it's free for us to use Facebook, but they're selling our data.
Okay. I understand.
and they're selling access to us as users. So it's like, and then the in-person example people always use is like ladies' night at the club, so women get in for free. They want women to get in for free because the women are what brings the men into the club and gets them buying drinks. So there's a reason when something is free to you, you are being used as some kind of product typically. So just
cool. I didn't think of that before. Okay. I'm ready.
All right.
Remember, I would be coaching people. I'd be like, they'd have the name of their company in their profile. And I would like they did the worst thing in the world. Oh, you got to take that out of your profile. You can't have pictures. It's like, and that was the advice for a while. The curiosity, attraction marketing phase. And so, it wasn't bad advice and it helped a lot of people. But here's the thing that's changed. So I've been spending a lot of time really diving into the economic data and specifically data on consumer behavior. And so here's one interesting thing. There's one stat that keeps getting reported. 7 out of 10 consumers today say that the number one way that they want to find out about new products is social media. They want to find it out through people that they know, like, and trust. Actual users of the products, right? Not influencers. Big brands are not paying influencers anymore. They're looking for micro-influencers, which are actual customers and real people that have used a product and experienced it. Go Google user-generated content. UGC, user-generated content, is the biggest buzzword in social media marketing today. User-generated content is what we're talking about. It's content promoting a product, not from the business that's selling it, but the actual user. This is how people want to find out about new products today. Now, this should perfectly align itself with our profession. Because yes, I get it. We are selling and we do have a business, but we also are.
So I wiggled my finger and I don't think you saw.
No, I saw after.
I Googled while he was talking his stat. 7 of 10 people want to learn about new products through social media. I saw 42% of those surveyed prefer to discover new products via feed posts. And so, of course, we're making the connection that all these people want to buy products on social media. And so, of course, we can just naturally slide into that role and use our social media to sell our products. But the products don't actually matter. The product that matters is the opportunity. We're trying to sell the opportunity. But technically, you could say we're selling a product because that person, in order to be on our team, has to buy a product pack. So there is a sales relationship there, but it's not a true retail customer sales relationship. Also, what is user-generated content? Can you explain that?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you know how influencers will get like let's say this water bottle, whatever, it's sponsored, they're like, Nicole, we want you to make a video about this water bottle and we want you to post it. So what most influencer deals are is I make the water bottle product and I post it to my social media. So all of my social media followers see that. With user-generated content, I would just record the video of me using the water bottle and I would send it to the company. So here's like a real person using the product. I don't post it to my social media. So the reason that a lot of people are getting into user-generated content right now is that companies do want it, and you can create user-generated content without having a big audience yourself. So there are like companies that are looking for, you know, certain kinds of people to create content. They will send you the products and they should pay you, by the way. Okay. And so what I think is interesting here is that they're like user-generated content. What I'm wondering is, okay, are any of these MLM companies paying people for user-generated content?
No.
Or are they exploiting their what is it? What's the Beachbody guy call it? The low-skilled volunteer sales force. Yeah. So they're basically getting free UGC from their distributors. They're not paying free.
The distributors are paying to provide the free user-generated content. And they like to make it seem, every MLM coach anywhere, you get paid to show your products. You get paid to talk about your products.
Yeah.
Now, sure, if you get a certain rate for every post.
Yeah.
And then say you get a certain rate when someone clicks on your link and buys a product, sure. But Beachbody does not pay us for posting on our Instagram.
Right. Well, and the thing is, like, yeah, and you could, like, let's say, Heather, you were like, you know what, I wouldn't mind making some, you know, some videos about products or whatever. Like, you could sign up as a UGC creator on these different websites, and companies might approach you and say, hey, Heather, we're looking for 5 videos. This is a mobile game, and this is the kind of script we want you to work with, and you just record this video and send it to us, and we'll pay you X amount, you know? Yeah. But they paid for the product, William. They paid for the product with their own money. Yeah. So in addition to not being compensated for their time, they bought the product, and they're basically making it for free so that these large companies can use their content in ads or other things. So basically, just like I said, UGC is a certain kind of content that's kind of come online a little bit more frequently the last year or so. And it's because companies do want, like, rather than paying, you know, a big influencer, you know, $3,000 for a story or something, they're like, you know what, we'd rather pay a few small people some money, and then we're getting in front of, like, you know, more audiences. So it kind of makes sense, but the way they use these terms, but users, not MLM sellers, like Marie says, like, ultimately these people are co-opting terms in marketing and acting like they work the same way in an MLM, but they don't.
And in user-generated content, the micro-influencer, they wouldn't pay for the product, right? Or would the company set?
They would.
Oh, they would?
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think some people do posts for free products, like, and they don't expect additional payment, but most people do get additional payment for their posts.
Oh, sorry. I mean, so say I have 1,000 whatever subscribers or followers. Do I pay the company for the product I'm going to make the video on, or does the
they should give it to you.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
Okay.
they should give you the product, and they should pay you some money. Like I said, they typically will pay you a smaller amount of money if you're recording the video and sending it to them, because they might cut it up into an ad. They might put it on their website or whatever. Yeah, it's like, so UGC is basically like the company's internal marketing department. Like, it could be. It's just that they want, like, real people producing the content. And then the idea of, like, more of an influencer is somebody who has an audience. So they might generate the content, but then they'll also post it to their audience. So that will typically be more expensive, because in addition to making the content, they're also getting the exposure to my audience, whatever size that is. And clearly, the larger my audience, the more money and the better engagement I have, the more money I can command for that kind of brand deal. So
cool, thank you. I didn't know.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. It's kind of, like I said, it's this thing that it's getting more and more popular, because people are seeing that it takes a really long time to build an audience, and but at the same time, they produce really good content. So companies, like, there's this thing now, and it's great that it exists, but these jerk faces co-opting it really pisses me off.
Jerk faces. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Our product users. And so this should be like a grand slam home run for us. So first off, to give someone advice, you should never talk about your products and content, is somebody that is operating from an old, outdated playbook. They're either trying to sell you something that is promoting with their agenda. So they have a financial agenda why they're telling you to do that, because they're going to sell you a digital marketing course on funnels or attract something, right? Or they're just out of touch with what's actually happening today. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. And so, because if you're not talking about your products, then you're not leveraging the most important concept in content today, which is what we're talking about. But here's where we get it wrong as a profession. This is a really good analogy. So I want you to imagine, you're watching Instagram stories of a friend of yours, and she's posting about how this experience she had at a restaurant that just opened up in your hometown. And she's got pictures of the food. She's leaving and she's, this was the best experience ever. Look, if you're looking to go out and have a great meal, you have to go to this restaurant, right? And so you see that. Now, if you and your husband or wife are wanting to go out to dinner next week and you don't already have a reservation, I would argue there is a very good chance you will book a reservation at that restaurant, for the main reason that it was recommended to you by a friend. Now, I do this all the time. There'll be restaurants that open up in our area, and I'll always go to Yelp and I'll read the reviews or Google reviews, and there'll be good reviews, but I'm like, I don't know these people. Or,
right.
Is the business buying reviews? Like, I don't know how to put stock to that. But if somebody I know tells me it's good, I'm going to go there, right? So this is user-generated content. Here's where we get it wrong as a professional.
I don't think that's true. If someone tells me a Japanese restaurant's amazing and it was the best food they've ever had, if I don't like that kind of food, I'm not going to go there.
Also, like, the friend isn't getting paid to say that the restaurant is good. Like they're just saying that the restaurant is good. They're just recommending it.
Say that, but if someone's getting paid, you might not trust it. But if someone I know, because they're going to tie it back to liking, knowing, and trusting the person. If it's a friend of mine who I trust and they say that they say this restaurant's amazing, and I also get a kickback if you go eat here because I'm an affiliate, I'm going to respect that. I'm going to respect that they're upfront and following the law, telling me that it's an affiliate of some kind, and I might still go. It's not automatic that if someone's getting paid, I'm not going to go.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And also, like William said, this actually isn't user-generated content, because the company isn't like approaching this person saying, hey, listen, like, we're opening this restaurant and we would really like you to, come in and take some pictures and like yourself at the restaurant, and we'd like to be able to use them in our ads and stuff. And we're either going to comp your meal or we're going to comp your meal and give you some money. Like, that would be, like, my understanding is that UGC is practically speaking paid user testimony. And it's at least paid user content. It could, and I've seen them before for like clothing where people are like, this is, like Quince. I don't know. I get a lot of ads for Quince for some reason. It's like this. It's just like this, like, basics kind of place. It's like J. Crew, but affordable kind of thing is their thing. It's like, look at this cashmere sweater, and oh, it looks great. So it's just like a normal person that looks like me trying on a cashmere sweater and being like, wow, this is really great. Like, it seems really high quality. Like, it's only $50. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like that. Yeah. Paid in terms of either a free product or service or some other form of compensation. Exactly. Whereas the friend that went to the restaurant, I'm guessing the restaurant didn't pay them to go. I'm guessing that they just went because the restaurant was new and opening and they just wanted to, try it out, and they just really liked it and wanted to help out this new business. So yeah, like, this is, I guess that was my fundamental thing, is like, this is actually, this isn't really user generated content, but.
I had something else in my head.
Oh yeah.
What was it? It was a good point, but it might not come out clearly. So just because someone is getting paid to advertise for something doesn't mean that we don't have the ability to look at the service, decide if we still think it's valuable, if we still want to buy it, if we still want to go there, if we would have a good time. My point is, it's not automatically a bad
Sure, yeah.
It could be. Maybe that influencer didn't actually use the product or go to the restaurant, but it could be a solid recommendation from someone who actually did their due diligence, and I can decide that on my own, Bob.
Right. And like, exactly. And just because something is, like, I agree with you, just because it's paid does not mean that I throw it out. But like that clothing company, it served me an ad and it was like, hey, I'm a size like 16, 18 and let me try on these pants. And I'm like, okay, like, that's my size.
Yeah.
Like this person has a body type like me and they're trying on these pants. I'm seeing the way that they go on. I'm seeing the fabric. I'm seeing like, so there is like some value to seeing, you know, clothing on different body types or seeing like different people in the same environment and how they like story tell about it. It gives you a more complete picture. So yeah, no, I agree that, and by the way, like if you're making content for companies, you should be getting something.
Yeah.
You're helping them out, you know, and I'm not saying like don't, you know, don't do that, but I'm saying that the specific example he used, I just actually wasn't user generated content. Yeah. I get an unrealistic amount of diabetic socks ads for my feet. I don't have diabetes. I wonder if the algorithm, right? Personally, I love to read critical reviews in the restaurant's response to. Absolutely. I mean, the thing is like most of us before we buy something, we're not going to like just look at one ad and be like, yes, like let me buy it. Unless it's something relatively inexpensive or something you've been meaning to try anyway. You typically have to see, you know, different kinds of content. Maybe you're going to go to their website. Maybe you're going to like read some reviews on Reddit. Like most of us before we buy something of value, are going to do some additional research. And
For sure.
the ad just might give us the name of a company we want to look into. It might give us an idea of how this product could work for us, but like typically it's not going to be the only touch point that we use to make a decision. So,
and it's funny how he keeps talking about user generated content, but what we just learned from you, even someone who doesn't have a massive following, they're going to get compensated in some way. And in MLM, all of the back end work is not compensated. Like you said, it takes a lot of time and effort to actually talk to your prospects and do it well and maintain strong relationships. And it's not, can you imagine in an MLM, you put hours and hours and hours of all this work in, and then maybe you recruit one person in a month and then that person quits. So you just wasted an entire month.
And like, yeah, and I've been doing this a while. My proposal software tracks me. I have a 21% close rate. So these are people who I've met with and they end up buying something for me. So only 21% of even the people I have actively nurtured to have a meeting with enough to do a proposal for, only 21% of them are going to move forward. I can't imagine what their rate is for these companies.
Great question.
Yeah, MLM makes you pay to work for them. Yeah, that's the beef I've always had with it. Is it's like, listen, like if you're going to have somebody who's a commission only salesperson, you better give them like a really high commission and you better give them sales. You better like treat them really well.
Exactly. 100%.
Like the least you could do. Okay.
I'm ready.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think I like John better than Bob. I thought I'd like Bob better, but as this goes on, I see what you're saying.
Same analogy, same scenario. Best restaurant ever. You got to go there, except at the very end, there's one extra post. And by the way, here's my booking link. Make sure when you book at the restaurant, you click my link and go through my account so I can get paid when you eat there. Now, I promise you the majority of the viewers that are watching this, now, if you know that person really, really well, you would say, okay, she's going to get paid, whatever, it's still going to be good. But most people will immediately discount that recommendation because, no wonder you want me to go there. So what just happened was you're no longer a user in the viewer's eyes. You're a salesperson.
Right.
And so this is where we go wrong. Now, what the thing is the people that tell you don't post about your products.
But typically,
just do your own research and make your own decision.
Yeah. Well, also typically, if you're going to ask someone to jump through an extra hoop, like, hey, click on this link to book your table, there's typically you're going to offer them some kind of discount, right? Like any affiliate program or whatever. If I'm going to ask someone to go out of their way to like click on this link or put in this code, they're going to get some kind of either free gift or some kind of discount. So, but of course, with an MLM, you can't control the pricing. So you can't do stuff like that. So it's kind of a moot point. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you can't.
Yeah. Oh, hey, can you do this extra work so I can get paid, but you get nothing from it?
I've heard the Beachbody people say like makeup sales, be like, oh, look at this great bundle that you can get. Oh, put it together and it's a better deal, but it's not a better deal. And they just like pretend that it's a sale and they make pretty graphics to make it seem like it's a sale, but it's actually not. Like I've seen people do reaction videos to training like that. Where it's like, why? Just lie. Say it's a discount this month. And
Yeah.
they just make it up. So dishonest.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I had to say that. Yeah, if you're gonna jump through an extra hoop, typically you're gonna get something for that
Yes,
as the
right.
customer. Yeah, otherwise why?
Right?
They don't think they're giving you bad advice because what they see is every time you post about your products, you're always trying to sell in the content. I argue there's a way to talk about your products and share the products without actually trying to sell them, which is actually one of the most important things you can do today. And so that's why we give the number one piece of advice that we give people is this. You share the products and content, you sell them in conversations. Stop selling in your content. Stop asking people to buy. Stop including links every single time you talk about them because you are
Stop tapping the table. Holy cow.
Interesting. So we are selling in conversations. We are sharing in our posts. So what would that look like? Oh, I've lost 10 pounds in the last 3 months. I feel so much better. I have so much more energy to play with my kids. In the conversations, oh, well, I did it through Beachbody. Look, this is the product. If you buy my product, then you too will have a better quality of life. Is that what he means?
Or I think they means like you would post a picture and be like, I've lost 10 pounds. I can play with my kids. Here's me playing with my kids. And you keep posting that. And then eventually I'm like, Heather, what did you do to lose? Like,
Yeah.
You look fantastic. What did you do?
But didn't he say that
Sent you a
attraction
DM. Sent you a DM.
But isn't attraction marketing not working? They said, isn't that lazy
Yeah.
to post
Yeah.
and assume people are going to reach out to you?
Yeah.
And William said, so make a connection, then sell. So you like reel them in with an emotional story about how you've lost weight and now you can play with your kids. Yeah. And you don't just do one, you do multiple, showing how your life has improved and they feel a connection to you. And then when they message you, even though that's lazy to sell that way, but then when they message you, you sell them a product.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I guess you just delay the transaction. Like, yeah.
And
like
why
the
is that
fact
more ethical? Why is that more ethical than just selling on your feed? I don't see the difference. I don't know.
Well, I think the thing that they're not saying, which we all know, is that you don't actually make money selling the products. You make money
Right?
recruiting people. So the reason that you're not trying to sell the products directly in your feed is because that's not how you're going to make your money anyway. So
Right.
what's the point? But yeah, they are giving contradictory advice as this goes on. It is confusing. I agree. And I was told this we're going to turn likes into leads here. So I'm just really curious how that's going to happen. All I know is that they're going to like the picture of my cat, but I have to buy their program to understand how to sell to them. But anyway,
Right.
turning people away from.
And it's amazing how effective it can be. Once you build up that know, like, trust, which you talked about, you build up that personal brand. And guess what? You can recommend things that you don't make money on. Bob, you just said it, right? You recommend restaurants, not because you have an agenda, not because you get paid, but because you genuinely loved your experience. The food was great. The service was great, whatever that is. And this is part of becoming an influencer, right? And we're not saying an influencer, you got to have hundreds of thousands of followers and then you're an influencer. Literally, you could have a following of 50 people and have influence over those 50 people because you're sharing things you're using, you're telling stories. And I know a lot of your workshop is going to cover this. And it really is amazing how, and you mentioned.
I think that's bullshit. If I have 50 followers on Instagram and say they're engaged followers, yes, like I have a near perfect engagement rate, but it's 50 people. And out of those 50, I'm just making this up. Out of those 50 people who actually like me on Instagram, I pitch them my opportunity. Say 10 are actually like, okay, I'll learn more. 5 get on a call. 1 says yes. I don't know if that's realistic for a closing rate for someone who's not a salesperson, but I would have a better, easier time if I had hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers. Even if I have a lower engagement rate, I have a bigger pool of people.
Yeah.
So Bob or whoever said that, you're not going to get to the top of an MLM company with 50 people on Instagram.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah, they love to like trot this out. And here's the thing. And like William said, look, just sell me
Yeah.
directly. Don't try to connect with me. Here's the thing. If they could sell directly, they would just have an e-commerce site and they would just sell their products like just like every other normal freaking business out there that sells things online. Like we don't have to have a giant touchy-feely conversation if you want to go buy a t-shirt on my website. Like you could just like look at it and be like, oh, that's a nice t-shirt and buy it and be done with it.
Yeah, great point.
It's so I just think like, can you imagine if you had to have this like if you had to have a conversation for everything you had to buy?
Like
Like,
every time
you
you
know,
go to the grocery store or
like you had like someone was standing there holding like the eggs and you had to be like, tell me about the eggs that you're holding. And you'd be like, oh, well, they're from these kind of chickens and the chickens are really happy. And so these eggs are really good. And you'd be like, oh, thank you. I would love to buy some of those. Do you know how long it would take you to just like,
oh my God.
just go to the grocery store?
That's
And like, yeah, all these MLM companies, you're like, we're going to build the relationship for them to buy this product from us. That sounds exhausting. I just want to like get in, buy the thing and get out. Like I'm with me, William, I'm with you. It's
That's funny.
Yeah.
So we're almost at the halfway. Do we
We
want to
are.
finish the thought and then wrap up?
Sure. Yeah, we can. Yeah, I don't
We
have
did like 15-ish minutes.
Yeah, go us.
Do you want to let him finish the thought, or do you want to just like?
Yeah, no, I love. Oh yeah, we can let him. Like yeah, we can let him finish the thought. I see. I like
Yeah.
the touchy feely about a protein shake. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that they were mid thought when I cut them off.
Yeah, and then we can
Sorry,
wrap
guys.
up. It's okay.
Absolutely.
You mentioned this, how someone can post something and get crazy engagement. It's like with their kids or the date night they just had, but then those same people don't comment on their reels or don't ask them about their products. But I was having a conversation with a leader earlier today, and she was just blown away by the fact that she never did this in the beginning. And just recently, she started doing exactly what you're talking about, proactively reaching out to these followers, these likes, these comments, these leads. She was blown away by how some of these people were totally interested, but they never asked. They never raised their hand. And when I look at a lot of my top sellers.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out a good time to end.
Oh, it's okay. I was just waiting for him to finish his thought and him to like ask Bob another question.
Oh, and then Bob. Okay, go for it.
Yeah. I'm letting him finish this weird story.
Okay, go for it.
When I look at a lot of the people that are very consistent in bringing in new customers, they're consistently making a lot of money selling product. They do such a great job of talking about the products in a fun way. They have a passion for it. They've built up stories, not just their own story, but sharing other people's stories and talking about the benefits. And these are the things that I think back in the day would be considered spammy, or it'd be like, oh, you're an infomercial for your company. But if you do it the right way, not only is it effective, it's duplicatable. You know, a lot of
If you do it the right, oh, look at you, pretty much exactly 15 minutes.
Well, I wasn't sure if I think Bob's about to cut him off. That's
Perfect.
I could kind of see with his body language that Bob was about to cut him off.
Yeah. So,
And I was letting him finish his little story. Selling products. I love that he did the air quotes for selling products. So those of you listening, like allegedly.
Allegedly selling
We're
products.
allegedly selling products.
So you're technically selling. It's not a lie. You're technically selling, but you're selling to the members of your downline because they have to buy their product pack. And all he's saying, everything they say, they try to make it sound so freaking profound. Okay, the top leaders are interesting. They communicate in a really engaging way. They talk about their products in a variety of ways. Okay, interesting, sure, like that. So they're good communicators. Maybe they're outgoing.
Yeah, imagine
Maybe
that.
like that's
natural
not,
communicators with large audiences are good salespeople. Shocker.
right? And did we learn anything? We learned that MLM is not user-generated content. We learned that it actually takes, well, we learned this from you, not from Bob. We learned that it takes a long time to actually nurture real business connections. And even as a professional in the field, you're not going to close every single person.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, I don't know anybody who is, and I'm not sure. I've always wondered kind of what a normal closing rate is, which is why I just started like kind of tracking mine. And yeah, and I've got like, I don't know, like 15 proposals out there right now. Like,
cool.
Who knows which ones are going to come through, but you know, and my rate might go up or down, but Yeah. And that's of people who, like I said, who reached out to me and we met and we talked and then I sent them a post. These are not like just
Random
these aren't
people.
these aren't people who like to picture my cat, although they should. They're adorable.
Yeah, because you actually have real business relationships with people.
Well, that's the idea, and
And they might want your product or they might not.
Yeah,
and
that's okay.
And you might have a follow-up method, but I feel like I'm just guessing. You're not going to harass the people who said no. You're not going to follow up with them until they agree. Right? Like business owners
no.
do that, right?
Like I said, most of the time people will just give me an answer. They'll be like, hey, I hired, someone in-house, or like, I'm going with like this, my friend's kid or whatever. But yeah, like how can one realistically expect to close 100%? Yeah, you just can't. I mean, like I said, that's why I'm happy to share my, like I said, a closing rate based on people who have actually talked to, not just random people. So like I said, I cannot imagine the volume of people these people have to talk to even close one sale. I just watched a training with someone and she said, you should be talking to 10 people and you might close one of them. So she was preparing people for a 10% closing rate. And I'm not sure how much each of these contracts or each of these things pay. Like if you sign up someone for whatever, Monat for $100 a month, I'm not sure how much of that you get, but you'd have to sign up a lot of people to get a living wage.
Right. Yeah. And John was saying it's sustainable. If you follow our method, you'll have a sustainable business. But how is it sustainable when your financial success is not based on your own efforts? Like they like to say, it's based off of people beneath you staying and maintaining a certain rank so you can maintain your rank. Doesn't actually matter if they make money. It doesn't matter if they have a living wage. They just need to maintain a certain rank. That's it. Yeah.
And heaven forbid they change their product formulation, or they, run out of product and can't ship it out for a few weeks and people start canceling their orders, or any other thing that could happen in that whole process that you have no control over.
Exactly.
But yeah, Heather, this was so fun.
I was, yeah. This was awesome. 6 months since our last one.
I know. We'll do it more often than that now. My office is now constructed, so
yeah. Let's do it soon. And you did a great job ending it pretty much right at 15 minutes, so we can. Right at 15. That's great.
Yeah, that was the idea. I was trying to sort of like get it. Well, I was letting John finish his weird thought too. So.
Awesome. Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you. We'll immediately schedule part 2 after this. So keep an eye on both of our channels. Yay. And just as a reminder, like Heather's channel is youtube.com/c/HCEE for my channel people. And my channel is youtube.com/c/Breaking Even Inc.
Yay. Thank you, company.
Yeah, no problem. I meant to put it up a couple more times during the broadcast, but I'm a little rusty. So
that's okay. You were great. You did great.
You too. Yeah, I appreciate warming me up here. Like Tanya Eliza warms up the algorithm. You've warmed me back up to streaming. I appreciate you.
This is all right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Have a great time, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Yeah.